Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Yes. I'm Sara Razavi, CEO of Working Solutions, a microlender serving Northern California, and a very, very proud OFN board member. Each year, I look forward to the OFN Conference, and I'm happy to help kick things off this morning with an important partner for the CDFI industry, SBA Administrator Isabella Casillas Guzman. Administrator Guzman was sworn in as the 27th Administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration on March 17, 2021. Throughout her career, Administrator Guzman has dedicated herself to supporting small businesses. She understands the vital role small businesses play in our economy and has worked tirelessly to advance equity and opportunity for all entrepreneurs. Under Administrator Guzman's leadership, the SBA has scaled dramatically, delivering vital relief to millions of small businesses affected by the pandemic. She leads with a customer-first, technology-forward, and equitable approach, aiming to transform the SBA's programs and services to meet the diverse needs of all small businesses. As a small business lender, our team at Working Solutions understands firsthand what entrepreneurs need to move from an idea to reality. With the right tools and resources, small businesses can thrive and propel our economy forward. Strong federal partners like those at the SBA are key to making sure mission lenders have the capacity to support small businesses. And lenders such as Administrator Guzman have been working tirelessly to implement policies to support our work. I am so pleased to have her here today to tell us what's happening at the SBA and how we can all work together to empower entrepreneurs. Please join me in welcoming Administrator Isabella Casillas Guzman to the OFN stage.
Thank you so much, Sara. You know, it's wonderful to see my California friends again, always, and proud to see her leading Working Solutions to such strength, especially leveraging SBA's programs. And thank you to the OFN, the entire board, and Harold. I appreciate your partnership and for inviting me here today. America's economy, as you all know, is bolstered by small businesses and innovative startups. Entrepreneurship is a powerful pathway to the American dream and to building generational wealth and prosperity for families and for communities. And capital access is the key to the American dream, which is why addressing capital inequities and underinvestment has been a priority in the Biden-Harris administration. President Biden's economic agenda really centers on equitable and inclusive growth. It's about making smart public investments in America. It's about ensuring and empowering and educating the workforce of the future. It's about leveling the playing field, creating competition in this country, making sure that our entrepreneurs, our small businesses can compete. SBA, in its newly scaled capacity and brand awareness, unparalleled brand awareness, truly, from PPP, as well as its new scaled position of $500 billion in assets under management via direct loans, is working to help small businesses leverage these generational investments in infrastructure, manufacturing, innovation, and clean energy. To date, $368 billion in infrastructure projects have already been announced, which means contracts for small businesses who support local employment. Over $500 billion in private capital has been matched in manufacturing, R&D, as well as in clean energy, which means local supply chains and good jobs and force multipliers for our small businesses, our local main streets. Making sure small businesses benefit from these investments starts with capital. You all are our partners in delivering capital to more Americans, and more importantly, to underserved Americans who face the largest barriers to capital: women, people of color, veterans, and LMI and rural communities. I became the SBA administrator to address those capital gaps. That was small dollar lending, early stage patient capital, as well as capital intensive investments for growth and underserved lending. Because I know that the American dream depends on it. I've lived it throughout my life. And during the Biden-Harris administration, we have made the biggest changes in SBA lending in over 4 decades. Through our regulation and operational changes, we have modernized lending criteria and cut red tape for borrowers and our lenders, as well as strengthened and expanded the network of SBA lenders. Our modernization efforts were built on long-standing successes and industry feedback. We now allow lenders to make SBA loan decisions based on their existing practices for similarly sized loans, including alternative underwriting standards. We provide additional flexibility under $150,000 to incentivize those small dollar loans and microloans. We have streamlined paperwork and simplified eligibility, removing affiliation for control issues that really were burdensome in the program and created uncertainty in the guarantee. In fact, we've taken on pre-screening for eligibility and fraud at the SBA. And we are strengthening and expanding our distribution network, creating competition and truly more opportunities for the borrowers themselves. Through this expansion, we've prioritized mission lenders along the way who have been working closely with us already for 12 years through the Community Advantage pilot program. Now, Community Advantage lenders have permanence and access to the 7A portfolio since we lifted, that's right, since we lifted the moratorium on the small business licensing companies, which had been capped at 14 for decades, as many of you know, besides the fact that they had the strongest performance. And as part of this regulatory reform, SBA rolled out the Community Advantage SBLC, delivering the same benefits that some have sought to create through legislation. Permanence creates certainty for our mission lenders as well as those who back them. We have expanded our mission lenders this past year by 22%. The SBA has provided a permanent home to 143 mission-based lenders in fiscal 23 through the Community Advantage SBLC program. Our strengthened network includes those original 112 of the pilot program lenders who wanted to continue on this journey with us, which collectively represent 99.8% of the original lenders. It also includes 31 new mission lenders approved in the last 60 days under the Community Advantage SBLC. And in the coming weeks, we will be announcing 3 new small business licensing companies that will also help us grow small dollar lending and fill those gaps in underserved lending and startup capital. Thanks to our regulatory and operational reforms, we have had an incredible year. SBA-backed loans in fiscal 23 totaled nearly $34 billion for over 63,000 small businesses. We put out $2 billion more in 7A versus 22 and $5 billion more versus 20. Our Community Advantage lenders grew their SBA lending by 23% compared to fiscal 22 for a total now of $141.3 million to nearly 800 small businesses. And microlenders distributed an additional $86 million, up from 84 the past year. Much of this performance came in the final weeks of fiscal year after SBA's rules went into effect on August 1st, 2023. Our rules and reforms are empowering some of the most entrepreneurial communities in our country and getting them off the sidelines. We've increased loans to Black entrepreneurs by about 2.5x since 2020, over 4,700 loans and nearly $1.5 billion, up from $592 million in 2020. That's a stubborn number. You know that we finally got to break through. And loans to Latinos have doubled to over 7,700 loans, $3 billion, nearly $1.4 billion more than in 2020. There's so much more work to do, but we've also increased loans to Native Americans by 70% in the number of loans and nearly doubled the dollars from $139 million to $278 million. AAPI lending increased by over a third with about 7,500 loans totaling $6.4 billion. Loans to women are up 70% now to over 13,000 loans totaling over $5.1 billion. And all told, nearly half of our portfolio goes to women and people of color. And that is exceptional progress. However, there are some in Congress who would turn back the clock in SBA lending, reversing these transformational rule changes. We must be vigilant in making sure we continue to make SBA lending even more efficient, simpler for better customer experience for both the borrowers and the lenders, and more accessible to even more lenders. Capital gaps are wide, and there's plenty of opportunity for plenty of lenders to serve the thousands of credit-worthy borrowers that are falling through the cracks today and not accessing capital. We must not hesitate or falter in driving forward the changes needed to reverse underinvestment in the very people that are fueling our historic small business boom, in which 13.6 million new business applications have been filed since the president took office, which is more than 65% than any year in history, and it's not seen around the globe, where our counterparts in the EU have seen flat entrepreneurship for the last 3 years. Latinos are starting up at 10 times the rate of other groups for the past 10 years, and their rates increased 20% since the pandemic. Black entrepreneurship is at its highest in 25 years. Asians, already over-indexed in the number of firms, have increased their startup rates by 18%. Native Americans have grown employer firms alone by 10% since 2020. Women and POC-owned businesses need equitable investment so they can scale and create jobs and deliver for our economy at the same rate of their white peers, especially right now as DEI programs are under attack, including in the SBA's 8A contracting program with historic impact, along with the RISE Fund, the Fearless Fund, Hello Alice, and many others. Corporate America, American capital providers, and the American government cannot allow a few extreme court advocates to take us backwards when diversity defines our future economic growth potential in America. And we cannot let Congress reverse any of our rules and take us back either when community advantage permanence is already certain and simplicity is driving small dollar loans into our communities. President Biden always says that America can be defined by one word: possibilities. It's endless possibilities we see in what the thousands of businesses we support at the SBA can do every single year for our economy. Equity is about unleashing opportunity that will benefit us all, because we need all of the great ideas and the great entrepreneurs around this country, in every corner of the country, truly, to start and grow and build resilient businesses. Our nation's economy, our global competitiveness, as well as our national defense and democracy depend on that. It's why the SBA was started 70 years ago during the Eisenhower administration, and it's why we have finally modernized SBA's lending and investment programs to ensure our partnership with all of you continues to grow. I truly believe that together, we can continue to break more records across the board and make sure that we're delivering equitable access to capital so that we can fund the next generation of possibilities in America. So thank you for the work that you do every single day. Thank you for your partnership, and thank you for having me today.